It all kicked off over a parking ticket that wasn't even real. That's what they told my granddad, Henry, when those self-proclaimed HOA enforcers rolled up to our quiet cul-de-sac in a sleepy Oregon suburb, summer of 2024. A tiny oversight, they said, but when they pushed him hard enough to crack his arm against the pavement, I knew this wasn't just about a rule. This was about power, and I wasn't about to let it slide. My cousins, all Navy vets, came back to town with one mission: justice. But this wasn't just revenge. It was about dismantling a tyrant who thought she could bully an entire neighborhood. This is the story of how we flipped the script. So, what would you do if someone hurt your family over a petty rule? Stick around, this gets wild. The trouble started the day Laura moved into our little community in Beaverton. I was tinkering with my bike in the driveway when she stormed up, jabbing her finger at Granddad Henry's old pickup, claiming it was parked wrong inside our garage. I knew right then this was going to be a problem. I'm Ethan, 27, living with my granddad in a neighborhood that used to feel like a safe haven. Henry's a retired Navy man, 68, tough as leather, keeps our yard so pristine you'd think it was a golf course. Laura, mid-40s, with hair dyed platinum blonde and a temper like she'd been chewing nails for breakfast, declared herself the HOA president. She had two sidekicks trailing her: Marcus, a hulking guy who looked like he'd rather be fishing, and Tim, who seemed like he'd agree to anything Laura said just to avoid an argument. They called themselves HOA officers, but something about their setup screamed scam. Laura's rules were straight up unhinged. Grass couldn't grow past 1.5 inches, so you were out with a ruler every other day. Trash bins had to sit exactly 15 inches from the curbies, she measured. Cars couldn't stay in your driveway longer than 5 hours, which made no sense unless you were running a taxi service. House colors? Only 5 shades of gray, each more soul-crushing than the last. She'd slap you with a $400 fine for any slip-up, and the whole neighborhood tiptoed around her like she was a landmine. I kept thinking, is this even legal? Fining someone $400 for parking in their own driveway too long? I wanted to tell her to shove her rules, but seeing folks live in fear in their own homes didn't sit right. When Laura and her goons showed up, pointing at Henry's truck parked neatly in our garage, maybe an inch over the line, she screeched, "Your front tire's on public property. That's a violation of HOA Code 14B. I blinked, stunned by her nerve. "Lady, you're in my garage," I shot back. Henry stepped out, calm as ever, that steady voice he used when he was about to lose it. "My truck's fine. It's in my garage." Laura's face turned beet red. "Don't talk back to me. I'm the president." She spun to Marcus. "Deal with it." Marcus hesitated, eyeing Henry like he didn't want to mess with a guy who'd seen more action than he ever would. "Sir, can you just move it back a bit?" Henry didn't budge. I said it's fine. Laura's jaw clenched so hard I thought she'd crack a tooth. "Marcus, handle it." Before I could react, Marcus shoved Henry. My 68-year-old granddad hit the garage wall, and the crack of his arm breaking echoed like a gunshot. He crumpled, clutching his arm, letting out a sound that tore my heart apart, a quiet, pained groan. Laura and her cronies bolted like roaches when the lights flick on, leaving Henry on the ground. My hands shook as I dialed 911, watching him try to stay strong even with his face pale from pain. "Ethan, don't do anything stupid," he whispered, still protecting me. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed a fractured arm, 6 weeks in a cast. Sitting by Henry's bed, watching the machines beep, a cold fury settled in me. Not the kind that makes you scream, but the kind that sharpens your focus. Then Laura texted, "This is what happens when you defy authority." I gripped my phone, rage boiling, and called my cousin Lucas. "Someone hurt Granddad. I need you here in Oregon." 3 days later, Lucas, Owen, and Dylan rolled in from San Diego, all Navy vets with a fire in their eyes. Lucas, 32, a chief petty officer, had a calm intensity that made you listen. Owen, 29, a tech wizard, could hack anything with a keyboard. Dylan, 27, was a psychological operations guy who could read people like an open book. They lived by one rule: family comes first. Seeing Henry in a cast, looking smaller than ever, they didn't say much, just exchanged a look that promised trouble for Laura. Lucas watched the security footage, his face darkening with every frame. Owen hacked into Laura's emails, uncovering her lies. "She's not the president," Owen said, eyes wide. She's been forging the real president's signature for months. Laura was just a board member, faking authority, pocketing HOA funds to pay Marcus and Tim $150 a month to play her muscle. Our plan shifted from payback to exposing a fraud. Lucas laid it out like a military op. Phase 1, we dig up everything. Phase 2, we make her sweat. Phase 3, we bury her legally. Owen sent fake HOA emails rules so absurd they'd make anyone question Laura's sanity. Walk clockwise when entering the neighborhood. Blue decorations are banned. Rotate trash bins 30 degrees daily. The neighborhood erupted. People flooded Laura's phone with complaints. Clockwise walking? Are you nuts? She denied sending the emails, but they came from the official HOA account with her forged signature. Watching her scramble felt like the first sip of justice. Dylan upped the ante, sending Marcus an anonymous email. Laura's planning to pin the assault on you. She's talking to lawyers. Marcus panicked, calling her in a frenzy. Did you really talk to a lawyer about me? Laura, already unraveling, snapped. No. Well, maybe if this gets worse. Their trust cracked. Meanwhile, Tim was drowning his guilt at a local dive bar, confessing to anyone who'd listen. I heard an old man for $150. We're not real security, just bullies. A neighbor, Rachel, recorded it all. She'd been Laura's target for years over her purple mailbox. Rachel showed up at our door with the recording, eyes blazing. This is Laura admitting to forgery and stealing, she said, playing another clip of Laura, tipsy, bragging. I signed the president's name on everything. He's been in a nursing home forever. The money keeps Marcus and Tim loyal. Lucas whistled. That's fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. She's done. Marcus showed up at our house, shaking like a leaf. I didn't want this, he stammered. Laura said we had authority. I'll testify. Dylan leaned in, voice sharp. Tell us everything. Marcus spilled. Laura had run the HOA like her personal fiefdom for 9 months, forging signatures, stealing $7,000, and ordering them to escalate against anyone who questioned her. Tim, meanwhile, was a wreck, ignoring Laura's calls and confessing to Rachel again at the bar. Dylan called him, posing as a lawyer. Turn yourself in, or it's over. Tim sobbed, promising to cooperate. Laura was falling apart. She installed cameras, hired a PI, but her neighbors, once terrified now, pushed back. When she yelled at an old lady for not walking clockwise, I stormed over. Enough, Laura. You're done terrorizing us. Her empire was crumbling, and she knew it. Rachel knocked one night with more news. Laura had tried breaking into Marcus's house, screaming threats. At midnight, I saw her pacing her driveway, eyes wild, like a cornered animal. Lucas called an emergency HOA meeting, authorized by the real president, Mr. Thompson, who'd returned from assisted living to reclaim his role. The community center was packed, neighbors demanding answers. Laura strutted in, trying to take charge. This meeting's unauthorized. Thompson stood, frail but firm. I'm the president, Laura. I never resigned. Rachel presented the evidence. Forged signatures, Tim's confession, Laura's drunken admission. The crowd gasped as Finn projected it all on a screen. Laura's face went from smug to ashen. She tried to run, but the room was too packed. Those recordings are illegal, she screamed. Lucas shut her down. In Oregon, single-party consent is legal. You're cooked. Laura fled that night, abandoning her car at a mall with her purse inside. Police tracked her to a seedy motel in Boise, registered as Jane Carter, with fake IDs. When they arrested her, she was a shadow of the tyrant who'd ruled us. Back in Oregon, her trial was a slaughter. Marcus and Tim testified, spilling every detail. Laura's lawyers had nothing against the recordings and bank records. Then came her meltdown. As the judge prepared to sentence, Laura leapt up, screaming, "This neighborhood was trash before me. You're all too weak to follow rules." Pointing at Henry, she snarled, "That old man deserved it for defying me." Then she lunged, a sharpened key in her hand. Lucas dove in front, taking a gash to his arm, but stopping her. Bailiffs tackled her as she screamed. He ruined everything. The judge added attempted murder and contempt to her charges. Laura got 22 years, plus $40,000 in restitution. Marcus and Tim got 2 years each, lighter for cooperating. The HOA funds were restored. Thompson repealed Laura's rules, and we threw a block party to celebrate. Henry, arm healed, was the hero, teaching kids bike repair in the same garage Laura once targeted. Lucas's scar became a badge of honor. Best wound I ever took, he grinned. The neighborhood bloomed, free from fear, stronger than ever. Looking back, I wanted Laura to hurt like she hurt Henry. But my cousins taught me justice isn't about pain, it's about truth and accountability. Laura built her empire on lies and greed, and it buried her. Our community's thriving now, a testament to standing up to bullies. So what do you think? Was Laura's 22-year sentence fair, or too harsh for a control freak gone wild? Should we have let the law handle it from the start, or was our psychological warfare justified? And what would you do if someone hurt your family over a fake rule? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where justice hits hard. Let's hear your take.